Writers' Workshops, presented by Kayla Gately. The Writers' Workshop is a method of teaching the writing process using a workshop method. Students are given opportunities to write in a variety of genres. Writers' Workshop allows the teachers to meet the needs of their students by differentiating their instruction and gearing instruction based on information gathered throughout the workshop during conferencing. Writers' Workshops can build students' fluency in writing through continuous repeated exposure to the process of writing. Take 5 minutes to discuss any experience or knowledge you have of Writers' Workshops with the person next to you. Take a few minutes to watch this video of a principal explaining Writers' Workshop.
So the writing workshop is a time and a place in your classroom where students are making writing things. The ownership is on them in terms of their purpose and intention and their audience, but it's this block of time, and on the onset it's that you want to support your students in finding their voice and finding purposes and ways to use writing in the world. And the writing workshop period is about 45 to 50 minutes of your day, and it should happen ideally 5 times a week. And I know it's hard for all of us to do that, but we set that as a goal, because what you'll find is, just like anything else, the more you do it, the better you're going to become at it. So we want our students to be writing every day. And if they're writing every day in the writing workshop, it's going to be hard at first, but they're going to get momentum and it's going to become easier. I trained for a marathon before my son was born, and I was not a runner at all. And I think what I learned when I was training for this marathon applies a lot to writing, because I hated running, and I never wanted to get out and do it. And there would be days that I'd be forcing myself and pushing myself to do it, and what I found after I did it for 4 or 5 days, that I wanted to do it. So then I would miss it. I'd be driving home and I'd hear a song on the radio, and it would be like one of the songs I listened to on my iPod, and it would make me think, oh, I gotta get to running. I couldn't wait, because now I got into this state of mind where I was running all the time. But then if there was a day where I didn't do it, and then I was like, oh, I'm just not gonna do it, and then the next day I'm not gonna do it, then it was starting all over again. And then it was all back to the beginning where it was hard and I hated it, and then I would get back into it and it was hard again. And that's the thing it is with writing. With our kids, I think if we do it every day, the momentum's going. If we don't, if we leave it off to the side and we don't get back to it, it becomes hard for them again. Then it's arduous. It's oh, I don't know what to write about. So that's why, if you can, to figure out where can you fit this in your day, even if you can't do the 45 to 50 minute block, that you're setting aside 10 or 15 minutes. If it's, if you can't do it because of your scheduling, but you can for 10 or 15 minutes fit it in, then do that. It's better than not doing it at all. So the workshop is, like I said, is 45 to 50 minutes, and the structure is always the same. It's going to start with a mini lesson. That's 5 or 10 minutes. Well, 5 to 15 minutes. And independent work time is going to be the largest chunk of the time. And then the writing workshop always ends with a share. So the independent work time is about 20 to 30 minutes. And then the share is about 5 minutes. And the share is a time that you can use to reinforce the teaching or to teach something new based on what the students were doing.
The writing workshop is made up of 3 main components. The mini lesson is about 10 to 15 minutes long. Independent writing and conferencing lasts anywhere from 30 to 50 minutes. And sharing is about 5 to 10 minutes. Mini lessons are short lessons that target a specific skill in writing. You can get ideas for your mini lessons based off of conferences with your students. You should use mentor texts during your mini lessons to target specific skills that you want your students to improve upon. Craft Lessons by Ralph Fletcher is a book of ideas for mini lessons, and it also has accompanying children's books to use as mentor texts. Independent writing. This is the student's time to write independently. Make sure you sit in your desk and write for a little while with your students. This models good writing practices. Students will all write at different speeds and will be at different places in the writing process. The writing process includes pre-writing, drafting, revising, editing, and sharing. During pre-writing, the students write on topics based on their experiences, they identify their audience, and they choose appropriate form for their writing based on audience and purpose. During drafting, the students are writing a rough draft, and they're emphasizing content rather than mechanics. During revising, they're sharing their writing in groups, they're participating constructively in discussions about their classmates' writing, and they make changes to their own writing to reflect the reactions and feedback of teachers and classmates. During editing, the students are proofreading their own papers, they're helping proofread classmates' writing, and they're increasingly identifying and correcting mechanical errors. During sharing, students are publishing writing in the appropriate form, and they're sharing their writing with the appropriate audience. Conferencing. Make sure during conferencing you don't read the students' work. Have them read a section to you that they feel they need help with. This is an opportunity for you to give individual mini lessons to those students who need a little extra help in specific areas. Don't conference with all students every day, maybe 4 or 5 students per day. You can use a clipboard with index cards or a student conferencing sheet to keep track of anecdotal notes. How's It Going by Carl Anderson is a great book on conferencing. Sharing, or the author's share, is the final step in the writing process. A special time and place is allotted to writers who wish to share their final products with an audience. This gives them an opportunity to receive positive feedback from their classmates. Management of writing workshops. It is important for you to teach the writing workshop process at the beginning of the school year so students know how to behave during this time. Writers' notebooks or folders are a great place for students to write notes, practice writing, and brainstorm ideas. You should keep a writing portfolio for each student with students' final drafts and anecdotal notes so you can show parents at conferences.
The Seattle School District started a pilot program for 7 schools, 7 middle schools, to start and implement Writers' Workshop this year. We have many teachers who are working with the Writers' Workshop model, and we've seen great improvement in kids in their writing and kids considering themselves writers. One of the really important pieces of Writers' Workshop is publishing, and here at Mercer what that looks like is we try to have student writing everywhere because we want kids to have a sense of celebration and completion, that their writing means something to someone beyond just themselves. It's just about great teaching and a great relationship with kids and really treating kids respectfully as writers. My role would not be possible and this work would not be possible without the support from the Nestholm Foundation and the Alliance for Education. And we're very keenly aware that this is a true gift and that this is a great opportunity that's doing a lot to serve our kids.
Writers' Workshop is a way for me to connect with my kids on a level that I've never been able to connect with. Writers' Workshop is a way for me to teach that is all personal.
It just helps my writing become better than it was. And it also helps me in other classes, and that's really good.
300 words would have been scarier to them at the beginning of the year, but now it's easy.
I express my feelings more, because last year I didn't like writing, and this year I look forward to writing.
It's created not just a place for them to share, but a willingness from others to take an extra minute to try to understand them, and to get beyond the small things in the language that don't work.
I like it because I could express my feelings. It's just me and the journal.
Writers' Workshop, the process is so clear that we start off with just collecting ideas about our life and we just get those on paper. We get that on paper and then from there we look at ways on how to make it better. We take it step by step so the kids don't get overwhelmed by how to write, that this is a clear process. Every single student can succeed because every single student has a story.
The Writers' Workshop has allowed us as teachers to get together and collaborate and do common planning so that all the students are receiving the same information, so we're more cohesive unit.
Programs like this need a commitment from the community. They're not going to happen with the way that schools are currently funded. They're going to need someone who sees a group of committed teachers and say, are you willing to do this? And the teachers are going to say, yes, are you willing to do this?
We couldn't have done this without the Alliance or Nestholm. I couldn't have had training. I wouldn't be able to speak with Martin as closely as I do or with the other staff members as we do. We all have a uniformity, we have a language, we have a common denominator now amongst us that we've never had before. And without the support of the donations, then we wouldn't have been able to do it.
We stepped outside of my brother's room, which had a rusty pizza smell, after I tripped on a pile of his clothes, which was lying on the floor.
Next to say goodbye. She's my everything. I need her in my life. I get mad or jealous when I see other people with their moms.
I haven't seen my parents in 7 years, but even though I should be crying, I just hold it in and don't talk to anybody. I haven't let it out since the day I left, but it sucks to have to go to sleep not knowing where your parents are or if they are okay.
Now it's your turn to do your own writing. Here's a quick mini lesson on persuasive writing. Persuasive writing is a piece of writing in which the writer uses words to convince the reader that the writer's opinion is correct. Persuasive writing is often used in advertising to get the consumer to buy a certain product. Persuasive writing uses personal experiences, rhetorical questions, and facts and statistics to strengthen the argument. Now it's your turn to write. Write a persuasive letter to your principal explaining why you should or shouldn't use Writer's Workshop in your school. While everyone is writing, I will come around and conference with a few of you. When everyone is done writing, we will take a few volunteers to share their writing in our author's chair. Now that we have learned the basics of writing workshops, here is your assignment for our next workshop. Visit the following website and explore it. It has tons of useful links and book suggestions for writers' workshops. For our next workshop, have a list of at least 3 useful ideas from this website to share with everyone. Here are lists of websites to visit for more information about writers' workshops. Thank you all for attending my seminar on writers' workshops.